Today on This Week in Startups, the founder of SocialFlow, Frank Spiser, is on the show. We take a question from a young entrepreneur in Switzerland, and Kathy Choi brings us the news. Plus, Tyler's going to give away this bag, This Week in Startups bag. All that and more right now on this.
That's what it's all about, man. They said money is the root of all evil. What? Funny how it feeds my people. Yeah. We ain't gonna live like equals until we get the money, spend the money, and defeat you. Yeah. Money is the root of all evil. What? Funny how it feeds my people. Yeah. We ain't gonna live like equals until we get the money, spend the money, and defeat you.
Hello. Welcome to another This Week in Startups. I'm just logging into Ustream so I can chat with the audience. We're back. It's 2011. I'm looking at the lineup of shows, and boy, producer Rob is back from the brink. We were having like every show's an Ask Jason because Rob couldn't get a guest. And I said, Rob.
Oh, that's what it was. It was a new producer who was having trouble getting guests.
He's having trouble getting guests.
Trial by fire.
Right, and I'm like, hey, Rob. When we do an Ask Jason episode, that's like the last resort. We can't get a guest, we'll do an Ask Jason. We clear out the backlog. You can't do that every show.
Right.
It's too many Ask Jasons.
Sure.
You sort of ruin the specialness of it. So I come back from vacation, and the lineup is incredible. Today, obviously, Frank Spiser, who is the founder of SocialFlow. Gail from Factual.com will be on the program January 7th. John Borthwick, my friend from BetaWorks in New York, angel investor, incubator, awesome guy. Avner from Boxy, you may have heard of it, awesome. John from BuzzFeed, awesome. David Karp from Tumblr, awesome. Anthony from Squarespace, awesome. Michael from Hashable, awesome. Bill from Sticky Bits, awesome. And Juan from .co, all awesome. And then we're going to have the old Twist meetup on February 8th. We're going to do the global startup meetup again. Yeah. So great job, producer Rob. You can keep your job for 3 more months. You're only as good as the last guest you booked.
Gil's on Friday?
I guess Gil's on this Friday. And that's going to be a great episode.
He was a co-founder of Applied Semantics.
Which, of course, was bought by
Google.
And which became
AdWords.
AdSense.
AdSense?
Yeah.
I think it was AdWords.
Well, I think it was AdSense. Well, it's both two pieces of the same product, right? Because AdWords is the product that an advertiser buys, and AdSense is the product that, as a publisher, you put on your page. So it's sort of two sides of the same coin, but correct, Tyler. Gil's a great guy, and he's got this great company, Factual, and I think they just raised a monster round of.
I heard. You know who else I heard just raised Roundster Mound? What?
You know who else?
A Roundster Mound.
A Roundster Mound.
Yeah.
A Munster Round, yes.
Yeah, a Munster Round. Scavenger, who was just on the show.
Was just on the program, raised $15 million at a $100 million valuation. Congratulations to them. I don't know what episode that was, but we'll be putting it in the clips. If you go to YouTube now, you can see the clips. So go to youtube.com/thisweekend. You see all the This Weekend shows. Click on our show, and then it says episodes, and right next to it says clips. So we're putting the clips in there, and we're going to start clipping the show. Interesting enough, only took us a year to figure this out. If you each of these shows probably has 5-10 good moments. If you cut those clips will get more views on YouTube than the actual program.
Oh wow!
I mean, we're really an iTunes business right now this weekend, but we've embraced the YouTube, and we're going to cut clips. I think cutting clips is the way to go because you can say like, hey, here's a question an entrepreneur had.
Then you get the less sincere, high attention deficit disorder viewer.
Listen,
you service both.
Here's the thing. We have a program, This Week in Movies.
Yeah.
That Lon is still on.
Yeah.
And I love when Lon reviews movies.
Yeah.
But I don't have 90 minutes to watch the whole program. I don't care about movies that much.
Right.
But I do want to hear a quick 3-minute review from Lon of True Grit.
Yeah.
This Week in Movies is now cutting clips, and it's awesome. So
in that case, you're not a diehard movie guy.
Yeah, there might be people who are not diehard This Week in Startup fans. I don't want to watch the whole show, but I would like to answer this question or see a pitch or maybe talk about the news or find out how Evernote, got saved by raising that $500,000 from a user.
It's like going on Christmas and Easter.
It's like going on Christmas and Easter.
Yes. you know, you're not going every Sunday to mass. You're just
I get it.
going
I
to
get it.
Christmas and
So you're
Easter.
just you're gonna go on the high holidays.
Yes.
You're gonna go on the big events.
Right.
And yeah. Okay, and say okay, sure. That's a good insight to start 2011. The launch conference is coming up in 6 weeks. We've got an amazing array of people coming. Go ahead and tweet. Follow at launch, and I can't wait to be at the launch conference. Say something about the launch conference on your Twitter account, and maybe we'll bless you with a free ticket. And wow, we're starting off. Damn it, Tyler! You know we always have the same problem with you. You got to have your speaker and your cell phone on. Hey, here's something you're not going to have a problem with, and that's GoToMeeting. GoToMeeting. You have a resolution. Every year we make them, and now we break them. This year, make a resolution you know that you can keep. This is a year I resolve to work smarter. And I'm going to use GoToMeeting. And you know, every year when we do the launch conference or Open Angel Forum, we fire up the GoToMeeting. We have an unlimited account, and boom, better, faster, and smarter. For one low rate, you can hold as many meetings as you want for as long as you want. There are no hidden charges, no overages, and you don't have to give people like a weird number, like those free weird services that just don't work. Brought to you by Citrix. GoToMeeting is awesome. It's stable. It works. And they include phone conferencing and voice over IP, so you can call from your phone or your computer. It's like having Skype built in. You know, just boom, it just works. Get your meeting up and going in seconds. Plus, it's easy for your attendees to join with just one click. You just get a click in the mail, boom, and all of a sudden you're in the meeting. So resolve to work smarter in 2011. Start now with a free 30-day trial. Visit go-to-meeting, GoToMeeting with dashes, and click on Try It Free button and enter the promo code START, as in This Week in Startups, S-T-A-R-T. Thank you to GoToMeeting. Thank you to GoToMeeting. Thank you, GoToMeeting, for starting off 2011 right and making us all work so much smarter. On the program today, Frank Spiser is the founder of SocialFlow, previously the CTO of Tackle and the CTO of Heavy.com, which I remember from the Web 1.0 days. He's a martial artist like myself. He's been coding since he was 8 years old. I'm looking at all these great notes from our producer. And he works at BetaWorks, obviously, the umbrella company that created Surmise, Chartbeat, which I'm an advisor to. Bitly, which I use. I've got the jc.is pro account. They just did their Series A, had a little write-up in Fast Company, and it's one of those social media tools we should all be keeping an eye on. Frank, welcome to the program.
Hi, Jason. Thanks for having me, and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you as well. I love the bulldog behind you.
Yeah, the art around BetaWorks is pretty eclectic, but this is about the best we could do around here. Hope it's all right.
No, it's great. I'm a huge fan of bulldogs, obviously, with a couple of them. Tell us, what does SocialFlow do? How does it work?
Well, SocialFlow, it looks at what you could say and looks at what your audience wants to consume and helps you match what the best thing you can say for the highest ROI right now. So we look at the way people are sharing language and the way that they're getting clicks and socially, success metrics socially as like shares or reposts or retweets. And we help you join the conversation at the right time to optimize those.
So essentially what you're saying is this is a tool for people who tweet to tweet more efficiently.
Right.
More effectively?
Yeah, I mean, that's right. All that, because if anytime you say something in a broadcast medium, you're spending social credit. So you don't want to be too noisy. You want to be on topic enough so that people recognize your avatar as somebody that has things that are of value to say, and over time they pay more attention to you.
So I'm looking here at the interface. I've actually logged into your account. What are we seeing here? It says total audience activity for social accounts, number of clicks. What am I looking at here? Describe this.
So this is, I think you're looking at either the 30-day or 7-day view.
7-day.
Yeah. Okay. So that's all the metrics that have taken place over the past 7 days for this account. You have the number of mentions and number of retweets up there. You see how many clicks you've got from the things that you've said, and the green area, or the numbers in green or red if you were negative, are compared to this interval last 7 days in this case. So you're up 79% in clicks and 53% in tweets and mentions. And reach, you've got more followers in this period by 4% than you had the last period. So yeah, the idea is you come into this and you see what SocialFlow is doing on your behalf as far as engaging with your audience, and you can gauge whether or not you're doing better or worse compared to the previous interval.
And I
There's
see,
a lot of,
yeah, I see here at the bottom you have mentions. So, and the circle is obviously the size of the number of mentions, and you can see how you did. I moved it to the 30-day, and I see that you're down 10% in terms of your reach. So that means you might be losing people because maybe you're being too communicative or something.
well, you're just not gaining them as fast in this case. So you're gaining them, but just not at the same rate as you were in the previous interval.
Got it. And so, who uses this kind of a tool? Is this for marketers, or do you see this being all individuals, because all individuals are now marketers because of social media?
Actually, that's a good way to put it. Everybody that has anything to say in a social setting is competing with everybody else. So, what you're saying about your show is competing with what I have to say about my kids and what somebody else has to say about their cat and the latest offer from so-and-so. And all of those things have a place. It's just you have to know when people have the appetite to engage with you. And that's really not a people problem. That's the problem that we solve for you. You figure out what you want to say to your audience and how to message your audience. And then we take care of the when to deliver it and when is the best time. We also differentiate between if you have 10 or 100 things to say, what is the best one that you can say right now, so that when it gets to a point that it is of substantial, ROI for you to say it will engage with you, with your audience then. And it's always on. It's always learning. It's getting better as it goes. It uses your audience's receptivity to tune for future events. So it's really not a people problem to deploy the messaging. It's really a people problem to craft them. We take care of the delivery.
Now, what's the language analysis? This seems to me to be pretty interesting. And obviously, you support multiple accounts. So I'm looking at one of your accounts here on the account, and I see, let me put it at 1 month or something, weather, power, fans, NHL power rankings. What does it mean top performing? Does that mean based on clicks or something?
So that's an amalgamation of clicks, retweets, mentions. I don't believe that account has Facebook metrics associated with it. So that would just be based on what you could get from engaging with your Twitter audience, clicks, retweets, mentions, reposts, shares, what you could expect to get from your audience if you use those words right now. So in the past month, you've used those words to engage with your audience, and what are the top performing ones indexed for right now? And so the top earning one is a weight of 100, and then it's basically inflation adjusted or whatever you want to call it against what you're likely to see from engaging with those subjects right now.
And you can also see the click distribution by hour and by calendar. Is there some trend? Is there some better time to tweet stuff in terms of getting clicks?
We get that question a lot, and there's definitely periods of high usage or maximum usage on social networks and social tools, but when the right time to engage for you may not be when it's being most used. It's when people are grouped around your topic. So when a lot of some of the other services and tools that talk about scheduling, what they try to do is match you when there's the most usage in a given time period. But really what you have to pay attention to is based on what you're talking about, how much are you getting in terms of clicks and retweets around that term. So that may be at the point of highest usage, like a Twitter peak, or it could be just, in the middle of the curve or even at the trough. It's just what's going to get you the biggest bang for your buck right now. You have to map everything to individual terms, I guess, is the moral of the story.
And so to use this service, do you just go back and analyze my archive of tweets, or do I have to sign up in advance to have all this analysis done?
It starts working as soon as you auth it in. So you'll do better using our tool than you would if you deployed the tweets yourself. After about 15 or 20 minutes, it's able to start making intelligent decisions. Obviously, it's better on the second day than it is the first. And the more tweets you pass through it, the better that it gets. But you'll start to see improvement almost right away. Huh. There's a lot of data passing through to train it on, so it gets better pretty quickly.
And so who's using the product?
we have a lot of publishers. We have a lot of commerce clients. Just now pulling on some brands through our partners. You know, a lot of publishers, papers here in New York are using it. I think you're looking at The Economist. That's a magazine. We're working with, I guess, you know, TV stations versus Nat Geo, stuff like that.
And how do you charge for it?
Right now, it's a subscription service for the base tool that you have there. We're starting to extend our offering by working with partners to integrate our optimization technology into them, where you would just pay a subscription fee to have our optimization technology pulled in. Also, a lot of our clients become so successful, you know, they'll tweet 15 or 18 times, and then they'll think, well, if we're doing this good 15 or 18, let's just bump the cap up to 30 and we'll just let the clicks roll in. But the right thing to do at that point then is to go out and get paid media or buy the clicks. And it's mainly figuring out how much they're worth in real time and then buying them. So we'll be extending that offering in a near-term release, actually, pretty soon.
And this product came out of BetaWorks, and you worked on it. Previously, you were the CTO over at Heavy.com. I remember Heavy from Web 1.0. Whatever happened to Heavy? It was web entertainment, right? And you guys had,
it was.
Yeah, and it was early on. I mean, Flash-based games, and it was sort of like College Humor before College Humor. Whatever happened to Heavy.com?
I'm not sure. I wasn't part of that original wave. I joined in 2006 when it was about 3 million monthly uniques. Built it up to 21 million.
Wow.
And then I moved on to Tackle. It was just something I was, you know, better suited for I was a athlete in high school, and I wish there was a Tackle. So I left to join that company. I'm not sure whatever, you know, what direction Heavy went to be in, but I know they've scaled back their business a bit.
What was Tackle? I don't even know Tackle.
Tackle was a high school sports social network, so almost like Facebook might be a little too public for something you want to share as a recruiting tool for your coach, so you wouldn't want them to have your Facebook handle and make Facebook friends with you. What you do is you'd craft basically an athletic resume, and then you could share it out to coaches at colleges, and they would come on and be able to look and see what you were doing in terms of sports, but they wouldn't see all your social activity. And that was sold to Alloy last year.
If you have a question for Frank, you can ask it in the Ustream chat room. Right now we are at thisweekin.com/live or ustream.tv/thisweekin. Put a Q and a colon and it will come up as a question. Tyler will read it. Or you can use #twist on Twitter as a hashtag and Tyler will ask it. Tyler, do we have any questions in the chat room?
Let's see, not so far because no one, what is the pricing of the product? What kind of results have some of the initial users
do we get
seen?
the exact pricing of the product, or how do you?
The list price is $2,000 per month for the first account.
Right.
We give bulk discounts, and most of our clients have 3 to 5 accounts on the service. Some of them have north of 60. So we obviously give substantial, you know.
So $2,000 per account to do this kind of analysis. Why that pricing model? I mean, you look at something like Chartbeat, also a BetaWorks product. Chartbeat, $10 a month, whatever, and this $2,000 a month. I don't understand the logic. What is it? You don't want is it sort of like the Cold War? You don't want everybody to have nuclear weapons. You only want 10 people to have them. What's the idea here?
Well, to be honest with you, when we first started, we didn't know what to price it. It was just, you know, we factored that pricing in terms of how much time we're saving, how much labor we're saving. It's better than having a junior person spend half of their time. So we figured that's the pricing that it'll be. And people are paying it because it definitely saves them at least that much time and money, and they get those results. But I don't think that the Chartbeat analogy is the same as ours. They have sort of a consumer-facing product. Ours is pretty computationally intensive. So, you know, if every time we spin up an account, we take on some cost for doing that because we're treating every individual audience differently, and it gets its own computation. So whenever there's a new account that comes on, we have to treat their audience's behavior differently. We don't make the same assumptions that we would for other accounts. I mean, there's a few things that you can transpose across multiple accounts, but for the most part, you have to learn and train up on each one differently.
What's the most insightful heuristic that has come about because of the product, in your estimation?
There's a few. You know, the more disappointing ones are things like free and download in the status. Actually, you know, when not overused, they do equate to more clicks. You'd think there'd be something, you know, more interesting than that. Hashtags don't matter all that much, and they matter less as time goes on because people are seemingly moving towards just straight communication. They don't need the conversation to be classified to find it interesting. They just identify with what you're saying. But what we do notice is that if you're involved in some sort of niche activity like cycling, if you hang glide, or if you trade stocks, you know, those type of words that have small circles of engaged activity around them, people respond very well to that when you get it at the right time. So the encouraging thing in this is that it is people driven, and the things that people find highly valuable in a subjective nature, where it just means something to them, really does equate to more resonance socially. You just have to find them and hit them at the right time.
So when you say niche, if somebody's really into StarCraft, the video game, using the term Zerg or whatever one of the keywords of the game are, you're laughing because you probably wasted a lot of time playing StarCraft, like
sure did.
All of my developers here. But if you use the word Zerg, people are searching for that, and therefore you pick up that traffic. Is that correct?
That's right. Yeah, we would see that, and we noticed that people that use that term Zerg also use this other term, and we've built our own proprietary language node-based map, and we spin up a new one for every account that comes on, so we know how your audience uses those words. But the StarCraft example is a perfect example. Those are something that you could be sure that people will be highly engaged in. You could see from their social sharing patterns that when you say something like this, it tends to get shared out by these types of people that use these words. So if they're speaking, if they're talking about something that's relevant to what you have to say, and you share it, you can expect a certain fragment of that audience to then share it on beyond that. And that's how we grow followers, where if you hit people that are likely to retweet you, you'll get in front of people that wouldn't normally otherwise be following you. They'll see that you're relevant and follow you back, and it builds you a really tight, engaged audience.
So is that really the goal of a product like this, is to find those people who will follow you so that you can build an ongoing relationship with them? Is that what most people use it for? Or are they just trying to cash in on some trends that are going on and get the sort of couple of quick clicks because they used, I don't know what's a trending topic, but it's almost like the sort of secondary trending topics or the trending topics in your world?
Well, I think some of them do use that. They use it to build a more engaged follower base. But a lot of our clients use it by feeding their RSS feed to SocialFlow, and then it formats the tweets in real time and orders them according to what's most important. And then what it'll do is it'll figure out when to engage people with this list, this queue of 100 or 150 things that you could possibly say. And they use it to automate their outbound outreach for things that you're sharing that are news or that are from their catalog that come out that they want to share. And then what they do is when they're going to spend time with their social presence, they spend it more conversationally. So they'll use whatever other tool they want to use to converse with their audience, and they'll add the human component to that. Because I don't need a human to tweet out offers to me that I might find interesting, or to tweet out the most recent article that I might find interesting. But if somebody's answering help questions or just providing general guidance, like you would want a person for that. So it's probably how most people split their time with our tool.
What do you think of these tools that let you pick keywords and just automatically send messages to people? Is that spam? Is that kind of automation something you would provide, or is that something you would be against?
We're not for that. It's we actually proved that could work. We proved how to make that work better as part of our research here. But I just don't think that. I mean, the way you make social work is that you engage like a person would to give people the results that they'd want from a really good person or social presence that they're following. You want to make sure that you're giving the audience what they want and that you're cool to them. That's the biggest key is to just give the people what they want. And no one wants people blasting things at them.
Your software allows it or doesn't allow it?
It won't allow it.
It won't allow it. And you wouldn't add that feature because you're afraid it's being abused, or you think it's against the gestalt of social media?
I would say it's against the general tenor of the social contract that you're entering into.
Well, what if somebody types in a direct hit, though? If somebody types in, how do I bake apple pie? And I've got a great video on that. If I set it up to reply automatically, I have a video about apple pie. Is that wrong or not? Is it spam or not? I mean, it's sort of a new world we're in. What do you think?
I don't think that that's wrong if you're not going to alienate the bunch of followers in your audience that don't care about that apple pie. So if you had 3 or 4 of them in the previous 5 or 10 minutes asking about apple pies, it might be worth it. Otherwise, what that is probably just a direct message. Or if you're just trying to establish yourself as the world, premier expert on apple pies, then by all means send it. But you have to make sure that you're giving enough of the audience what it wants to keep yourself relevant and topical.
What's the worst black hat stuff you've seen on Twitter right now that spammers and scammers are doing? Because you must watch this like a hawk because you're building tools that are not trying to game the system but optimize the system. And so in some ways you're going to be bucketed in with other people who are doing gray and black hat optimization. What's the worst stuff you've seen?
I think that there's 2 things that are probably neck and neck. One is that people game the trending topics and they'll associate links with trending topics so that when people search for them and click on them, they go somewhere that has nothing to do with those trending topics. That's obviously blatantly dishonest. And then I think that people also will they'll source what communities of people are talking about and then point them to something unrelated as well. So it won't be so blatant as to source the trending topics, but they'll find out what someone is talking to that's an entity, and they might mention them or mention them, and they'll get them to try to follow a link, which is also dishonest. It's almost like bait and switch. So either you're misrepresenting what the topic is about, or you're mentioning somebody, which implies that they should look at something, and then when you attach a link, that doesn't mean anything. I mean, both of those things are no-nos. You shouldn't do those in a
I am going crazy because of this. It's not Instapaper, which is a piece of software, which is cool, but it's that instant newspaper.
iPaperly?
That Paperly?
iPaperly?
Paperly, yeah.
Paperly. Which did we have them at
We had them open
for London. This product has become so popular that at least 25 times a day in my feed are people making their newspaper, and because I'm socially prevalent, it says, this paper was made by Jason. And I didn't make that paper. I'm not even participating. And I like the idea of making a paper. I just find that tactic it's so annoying to me, as a super router. Do you know what I'm talking about, Frank?
Yeah, I've seen myself show up in people's papers sometimes. But
what do you think of that?
I actually have a subscription. I use Paperly because there's some weird stuff that makes it in there. It's a good way to sort of source through what might be outliers that I wouldn't normally have gotten. So I don't mind it as much.
What if it came up 25 times a day? Should there be rules against that kind of stuff?
Yeah, there's got to, in the next wave of things, there's going to have to be filters, but I don't think that uniform, generally applicable filters are the way to go, because it takes it takes the variety out of social, which is you go to Facebook or Twitter for the entropy of the experience, right? So you don't want to take that out. You don't want to take away the discovery that is inherent in that experience out of being involved with it. So you need to let people train it themselves. So somebody like you or like me might take themselves out because you appear so many times, but if my mom used it, she might get a kick out of her seeing herself wind up in somebody else's paper,
Yeah, that's true. I guess it is a quantity issue in some ways. Tyler, any questions from the audience?
Yes. Some of the people playing at home. Rambaz had a question, which I'll rephrase. I think is an interesting one. Is the reason that the cost seems a bit high, I think initially to a lot of people in the audience anyways, is that to offset the sort of cost of pulling in Twitter's data feed?
No, it's not. It's just a stab in the dark when we initially picked it, based on how much it cost us to provide it and how much we thought we were saving or providing value to the end user. And the cost does seem high, but it justifies itself. Anybody that uses us, they love it, and it's definitely worth it to them. Not to say that we're not looking at, providing a lower tiered service to some people so we can get it out there, but the fact is people pay for it and it's doing its job. So I don't think it's overpriced. It's just it costs a lot to do what we do. So that's the price.
Got it.
Price is the price.
Yeah. But it's not based. The point being that it's not based on like Twitter's
Yeah, no.
API call
But you don't
or-
even need to. You don't need to have Firehose to do what you do, right? I mean, you can just read a sample through the normal API, and you're using my credentials, right?
Actually, we do have a substantial amount of access to the Twitter stream. I am probably shouldn't talk about the level of access directly, but we see a whole lot of it. So it's just a matter of going through that. But for your audience, we pay special attention to what your audience cares about. So could we? Yes, but it wouldn't be as good as what we do now.
It's a very interesting product. I need to play with it because I know Borthwick offered me to get a comp account, so I can get it for free. But
Offer's still there.
I just signed up, so you guys can hook it up, and I'm going to let we have Mahalo owns video games on Twitter.
Right.
So it'd be really interesting, and it's got some followers, and I
Right.
also own contests, so I'm interested to see with those maybe how we could exploit them and see how they could result in more traffic or whatever it is. So finally, you're part of BetaWorks. Describe for a lot of the entrepreneurs, they've heard about it, they've heard about Bitly coming out of it, Samaj just bought by Twitter. What is BetaWorks? How did you get involved in it? Is it an incubator? Is it Y Combinator? What is it exactly?
Okay, we came here in January of last year. I actually had built the business with my co-founder, and we came in because BetaWorks has some things that we couldn't get, like access to the Bitly click data and relationship with Twitter. They've been instrumental in facilitating those two things. I couldn't buy that with a VC round, so we came in here to BetaWorks. And BetaWorks is different from a traditional VC in that their product is companies. So they're growing companies and entrepreneurs and then shipping them out the door here. I don't know how to describe it other than it's like sort of like a karatsu in Japan where we each have a little bit of a stake in each other's success. And we work together loosely through APIs to improve each other's products in here. It's pretty competitive, but at the same time, everybody's friendly in their competition. But
and so how does that work? They take a little piece of equity from each company, blend it into a portfolio, and then share it back?
No, but we do. We all have plans right now to integrate each other's products with each cross sell. So it's not a direct exchange of equity, but it's really easy to get deals done. Like we're doing deals with TweetDeck, with Bitly, and Sharpie right now. So it's just a really quick way to get things done, and you can iterate through those business processes pretty quickly when you're all under one roof like we are now. So. Plus, when Bitly does something good, we want to come back and get in the spotlight, so we'll do something to one-up them, and then Chartbeat will come in and do something. So.
So a little friendly competition in the loft space.
Yeah, that's for sure.
This is a good idea that somebody had. I think Adeo from the Funded had it back in the day, which was everybody contribute a small amount of their equity to a fund based on their last valuation or round, right? So because that's your last round would be. If people are willing to pay cash for that amount, then it's worth that amount to a certain extent. And whatever, everybody puts in $1 million of their equity, and it blends it together, and you get whatever $1 million back of blended, non. So you can say, oh, you know what, I own this much equity in this weekend, or this much equity in Mahalo. I can blend a little bit of it to try to hedge against whatever, risk factors. So, an interesting idea. That's good. Somebody should do that startup idea. I would participate in that if it was like legitimate companies. Sure, why not? What's the risk?
All of the better incubator.
Startups,
yeah.
So, Frank, does that make you the CEO of the company or the founder? How does that work at BetaWorks?
So I'm the co-founder. There's a pretty flat structure here. I report to the board of SocialFlow, so I guess in that regard, I'm running the company. But I think the official CEO is Josh Auerbach. And Josh and Andy are on the board, and I meet with John, once or twice every week to go where we're going. So those guys have been great. They definitely know what they're doing, and the great thing about working here is that they always come up with sometimes when I'm like, all right, what do you think we should do here? And there's a choice to be made. Well, anytime they have a chance to do the better thing, they wind up doing something even better than I had expected. So they're like, well, why don't you try this? And it's definitely been worth it to be in here.
Getting a little wisdom from people who've been doing it for 20 years, not a bad thing, right?
Yeah. Oh, one other thing though. Yeah. We actually are just now starting to raise our A round. So we're starting to look at that. We haven't yet closed.
Oh, okay. I had a little mistake in my notes there. Oh no, I did. It's correct. Producer Rob got it right. Just starting your Series A. So you're thinking about raising it. You're talking to people. How is that process going?
It's going well. We were going to wait a little while, but we had a little bit of interest that came in, and now we just figured, all right, it's the time to do it. So over the next month or so, I'll be meeting with everybody and trying to figure that out. But we have a great plan. The business is really scalable. We have a good partnership with Twitter. Yeah. So it's I guess it's the right time.
I think this is a automatic takeout candidate by Twitter. Like the same way they took out Surmise, and at some point they should take out Bitly. This is no doubt they should buy this company if they prove it out, because Twitter's trying to have more professional services and things people are willing to pay for.
Sure.
Especially
if he's bringing the clients along with him.
Yeah, right? I mean, there's a whole sales group at Twitter now.
Right.
And so they're talking to him, and they should just have a little checkbox that says, yeah, would you like to add SocialFlow? And you can this will train you on how to, more effectively, whatever. It's $1,000 a month. It's $2,000 a month for whatever number of accounts. I mean, it's a no-brainer. Frank, continued success. The product is very well built. I'm going to look forward to playing with it. And thank you for giving us your insights on how the whole social space is going.
Great. Thanks for having me on.
Take care.
Take care. Bye.
Very interesting. I am fascinated by these tools. Yeah. I don't have the time, frankly, to do this kind of analysis. And I would like to have somebody on the team at Mahalo, like playing with this kind of stuff, because I do think it's a big opportunity. But it's an opportunity, but I'm not sure that the opportunity is better than, say, the SEO opportunity.
Right.
Like it's new, but you can get 1,000 people a day or 5,000 people a day. I don't know if it's moved the needle yet.
Right.
That's what I can't figure out.
Would be interesting from a marketing standpoint to see him do an account and show like some wild growth just based on like an automated robot that intuits based on whatever,
It seems to be the best way to get followers is still this same idea of just going around and follow everybody. Hope that the reciprocation effect is that they follow you back, and if they don't, unfollow them, which is what every tool does. And you see all these people sort of like who have 5,000 or 10,000 followers, and they're following 5,001 or whatever, or 4,999.
Yeah,
everybody's playing that sort of game, but I'm still good for 500 to 2,000 based on my 100,000 people. I'll still send 500 to 2,500 people to a link. That's a pretty good click-through rate, 0.5 to 2.5.
Right.
I mean, it's better than any banner ad ever gets. So anyway, it feels like a really tight product, just from the look and feel of it. So, and another tight product, of course, is SendGrid. SendGrid, the industry leader in delivery of transactional email. Tyler's a client, and Foursquare, FormSpring, Hootsuite, and SlideShare. Those are big companies. All are clients. Transactional email, as you know, is any email message that is automatically generated and sent by web applications as a result of a user action. In other words, they're critical. That means things like your account has been registered or your password has been reset, which I do. Like I'm resetting passwords every day because I try to have every password be unique and I forget. Purchase receipts, shipping notifications, friend follow requests. Boy, it's a great product. It's really tightly put together. And if you would like to sign up and get a free 3-month subscription, just use the coupon code IWatchTwist. IWatchTwist, TWIST, IWatchTwist. That's the coupon code. You get 3 months, and this can be applied to a new or an existing account. They're hiring because they're doing so well. And if you're a web application engineer, a backend engineer, sales, or a marketing, you're going to want to go check out SendGrid.com and go work for this company because they're moving on up in the world. They're doing well. Let's do an Ask Jason. Okay, Elan? Am I pronouncing it correct?
Alan. It's Alan.
It's just Alan.
Yeah.
But it's L-A-I-N.
Yes, it's French. So
Ah, oui. C'est bon. Where are you calling from, Alan?
I'm calling from Switzerland.
Ah, Switzerland. Is this the first time we've had Switzerland? Tyler?
It seems like there was one other
Why don't
one
we-
at one point.
Why don't we get a map in here? We should have a map, and we should put a pin for every country that we've had a call in.
We could play the national anthem of that country when they call in.
Well, it's not the Olympics, but... Okay, so you're calling in. What time is it in Switzerland right now? 10 o'clock?
It's almost 11. Yeah.
Almost 11, so you stayed up late to watch a little twist. Have you been listening to the program for a long time, or is it the first time?
I have for about 30 episodes or something.
Oh, wow. So you're pretty deep in. Any favorite episodes or guests so far?
No, I don't think so. I can't name any right now.
Okay.
You just got busted.
Busted. You've watched about 3 minutes of the show. Everybody's always like, I gotta.
Oh yeah, that's the first.
That's the first.
That is the first.
Okay, Alan, you have a question first. Let's hear it.
Yeah. So I'm creating a system called Smartly EDU. It's smartlyedu.com, which is a course/learning management system that allows teachers to assign work, then collect it and grade it easily. And then students can also collaborate live and learn using a lesson system. It started because we all have a mutual hate, meaning students and teachers, for the current online learning offerings, because they have very poor usability, since it's designed by professors who mainly value function over form instead of, balancing them a little bit. So the root of the problem is that content takes too long to add. So we're trying to fix this type of stuff, and we don't require server admins and stuff. So anyway, here's my question. We have a young staff that's comprised of a first-year college student, a 17-year-old, and a senior in college. So how can we get a market like schools to take us seriously despite us being a little bit younger than the usual entrepreneur selling to quite big markets?
Yeah, this is a good question. You're young. People aren't going to take you seriously if you want to get paid. But this is where self-serve accounts, and people just, on the internet, nobody knows you're a dog. Nobody knows you're 17 or 15. There are all kinds of young people who are in high school, and you read about these sort of fringe cases, these edge cases where they're making $100,000 a year, $200,000 a year using AdSense or self-serve. I would say try to build the program so you don't need to sell it, that it sells itself. Look at the 37 signals model. Everybody's doing this model, which is like, here's 5 options, pro, basic, whatever. Make it basic. It's called freemium. You can look freemium up. Obviously, you probably know what it is. But upsell people and let them do it automatically and make it simple and cheap. And then once they get addicted to it and you've got people using it, then you can say, hey, we have 7 professors in your university using this. And then you can email those 7 professors and say, we're going to be on campus on this day. Can we meet with you and get your advice? Ask for advice, you get money. Ask for money, you get advice. What you're going to need to do is figure out what 6, 7 professors at whatever universities are using it and say, we were wondering if we could come on campus and have you advise us as to how you're using the product and how it's working. May we come in and just buy you a cup of coffee? Of course, they will say yes. They will give you a punch list of things to do. You do 2 or 3 of them, and then you come back months later and say, you know what? We got 2 of your things, 2 of the 11 things done. If you guys could lobby the school to give us $10,000, we'd get the other 9 things done. So what you've done is you'd say, you've sort of got them vested. And this is what people who are car salesmen do. They get you vested in the car, telling you about it, asking you questions. Oh, what do you do for a living? Oh, where do you live? Oh, you have a family. And you're answering question after question. You feel like, wow, I'm in some sort of relationship with this person. I'm vested. And then to break that bond, is like, oh, well, now it's over. And so if you want to do that reverse with a salesperson, ask the person a lot of questions. Ask them to get your information. And if you're asking the person who's doing providing you the car or the software, question after question after question, and then they ask for a discount, you're like, wow, God, I've already tried to sell this guy. I've spent 10 hours on this account. You can do the opposite, the kung fu, where you've got them really interested in the process. You get them addicted, and that's all you have to do. They're not going to care about your age. If you've got them addicted and it solves their problem and you listen to them, they don't care if you're 17, 18, 19. The world loves young people. The world loves to see young people succeed. especially in technology. I mean, there's a 26-year-old up in Palo Alto right now who has a $50 billion company making $3 billion a year. You may have heard of him, Mark Zuckerberg. I mean, he's still, I don't know if he's 26 or 27 now, 26, I guess. So, yeah, I don't think that that's going to be a problem. They're going to take you as seriously as the problems you solve for them. And also, put a suit jacket on. It's not going to kill you. The reason why a lot of young people don't get taken seriously is because they don't take their appearance seriously. They don't act professional. If you show up with a jacket on, press shirt, clean shaven, unlike myself today, I forgot to shave, I just got back from vacation. If you show up as a professional, people will treat you as a professional. If you show up in jeans and a t-shirt and you're acting like a kid and you got the moppy haircut and you put a little hair gel in, your hair looks good, put on your collared shirt and act professional and you'll be treated professional. I always wore a suit when I was younger, and this is actually a trick I had. I realized my friend had these glasses that were clear, and he lent them to me. I was like, what do you wear these glasses for? He said, oh, well, people take me more seriously when I wear glasses. I said, you're kidding. He said, no. I said, this is the stupidest thing I ever heard. You wear clear glasses? He said, yeah. It's no prescription.
Right.
They're not sunglasses.
Right.
They're glasses.
Right.
But just glasses.
Vanity glasses.
Almost like vanity. Is that a term?
No.
Okay, well, there you go. You made up another term. So anyway, I'm like, okay, let me try that. I take the vanity glasses, I put them on with my suit. I'm wearing these like tortoiseshell glasses. I was like, oh my God, people think I'm smart. Literally, people, maybe I was reading into it, but if you put a person with a short haircut, with glasses and the thing, people say that person is smart. You put them in jeans and dungarees, you put dirt on them and you give them a shovel, they say that person's dumb. That's how the world works. And as a young person, don't get caught up in this, I gotta be myself, I gotta rebel. If there's a game to be played, if those guys like to see you come in with the patches on the elbow, or a Brooks Brothers, there's a Brooks Brothers jacket with the gold, it's easy to spot, then play the game. Wear the goddamn Brooks Brothers jacket, get their money.
I think you can even take that tactic to a higher level by mimicking the style of dress that they wear. Like you touched on it briefly, but that actually does psychologically work when you're going into any interview. Actually, it applies to any interview. Yeah. The more that you can mimic that person, the more they see themselves in you and they like that and whatever.
We've been going to VC meetings for 3-4 years together. I have a certain look, right? I wear a nice pair of jeans, I wear a blazer, and I wear a press shirt. Press shirt has my initials right here. I like that. The guy custom shirt. You know how much a custom shirt costs?
Speaking of custom shirts.
That a custom shirt? Is that from that place that you can
Blank Label.
That's from Blank Label?
It is.
I was about to say, where did you buy a shirt with those ugly red buttons?
I designed it this way.
You designed it with
ugly
ugly
red buttons? I picked the red buttons, yeah.
Oh my God, what a disaster. Anyway, the point is, when you get your shirts done.
Hold on.
But it only costs $100.
Not only does it have the red buttons.
It says your name.
No.
It's
says? Got, like, carrot sticks and cupcakes, one of my Tyler Insights.
Oh my God. Carrot sticks and cupcakes.
You got your JMC. Yeah, and I've got my carrot sticks and cupcakes.
What is carrot sticks and cupcakes? I don't remember that.
That was the insight where I was trying to explain, like, if you ask your customers what they want, you don't necessarily get the truthful answer.
Yes. Correct. I remember that. That's a good one. So anyway, custom shirts cost $100 each.
Yeah.
And if you buy,
I think they're about 75 on
whatever.
Blank
If you
Label.
go buy a shirt in the store, it costs $60.
Yeah.
Whatever. Because I wear that stupid thing, I cannot tell you how many dumbass VCs are like, oh, who does your shirts? Who gives 48 minutes and 50 seconds. I'm not supposed to curse on the show. Anyway, why does every VC ask me who does my shirts? Who cares? Is that going to base your investment in Mahalo or This Weekend or anything we're doing together? Who does my shirts? But that's what they do. They get their shirts done. And
it's a topic of conversation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You show up for that meeting with looking like they do, being part of the whole academia.
Yeah.
If you're part of academia like that, like maybe they carry like a Coach bag. I don't know what they carry in academia. But it gives you some common ground, is what you're saying.
Exactly.
Anyway, Alan, you're going to do just fine. Product speaks. Make a kick-ass product that solves problems. This is not going to be an issue. And just don't show up dressed like a kid. People, if you dress like a kid, you act like a kid, you get treated like a kid. If you act like an adult and you dress like an adult, you get treated like an adult. You'll get treated as you treat yourself. So just come in serious and when you say, hey, it's $10,000 for a site license, just say it's $10,000. And they say, wow, why does it cost $10,000? They say, well, because we have to pay our staff. That's it. Boom. You're not a kid anymore. You make software that solves people's problems. You're not a kid. You're a developer. Nobody cares. People got problems. You got an answer. Done. All right. Nice meeting you. And where are you going to be February 23rd and 24th?
I'll be in Switzerland.
Kid's funny. Kid's funny. Would you like to come to the launch conference? I was going to offer you a free ticket, but if you're too busy in Switzerland, I mean, listen, I would rather be in Switzerland myself. Would you like to come to America and come to the launch conference? I don't know.
Well, I'd love to, but you know,
cool.
it's like 4,000 francs, or it's roughly the
you have to
same
pay for.
equivalent
Oh, yeah,
to
it's
dollars,
really expensive to fly.
Yeah.
Can't you get isn't it cheap tickets? No, is it all expensive?
I just got a United email that was like $259 to Europe.
Wow.
$259 to Europe.
Wow. Oh, but you know, Alan only flies first class. He needs first. All right, Alan, it was great talking to you.
Yep, you too. Thanks.
Bye. That kid was pretty funny.
The delivery was amazing. Yeah.
He's like, yeah, I'm going to be in Switzerland. Where else would I be?
Yeah.
What does it matter? Okay, let's bring in Kathy. We'll do the news. I still can't get over the red buttons.
I think the red buttons are nice. That's a great shirt, Tyler. Do
Thank
they have
you.
those for women as well?
I think you can.
I don't know if they have women's.
Wait, tell me the name of the company again.
Blank Label.
Blanklabel.com.
Yes. Just Google Blank Label.
They called into the show.
Yes.
Yeah, they needed some advice. They're trying to float some. Yeah, I remember. And you could just go on there and design crazy shirts.
Put a dash between blank and label.
I was hoping there was a dash in that.
I think it looks fantastic.
Yeah. And the interface on the site is awesome.
I do love the interface, but you could have. You could land a 747 with that shirt. I feel like it's the lights. I just saw those lights when I came into LAX. They look like LEDs. They're so bright.
Yeah.
Did you know they were?
That's a very hip, like kind of
Is it?
underground
It's
look
a very
nowadays.
polarizing shirt. I've had like 5 compliments. I've had more compliments on this shirt.
Was it from pilots?
Than anyone else. You're actually the first person to ask that.
I'm not saying I don't like it.
Okay.
I'm just fascinated because they're so red that they literally look like LEDs.
Yeah.
And I get, you see my buttons, I get like a clear white
I'll tell you
line.
what, I'll wear one on the next show, a little more subdued.
A little more, okay. So
I like-
Customize. What color buttons do you like?
But now people think that Blank Label is sponsoring the show, and they're not. So
No.
they're you're a haberdasher.
Yes.
They're giving you free swag. And you're.
Yeah, I've had him in the past. I wore a Blank Label shirt on New Year's Eve.
I know, but this is basically you figured out a way to get dressed for free based on the show. And where's my shirts?
That's not. And the women's shirts. Where are the women's shirts?
Exactly.
Is my-
There's got to be. That's all right. Tyler's got to get his
You
beak
want
wet.
to get your beak wet.
I don't want to get my
see
beak wet.
how it
I don't want to
is.
get my beak wet.
So
Okay.
I just want to know: do I look smarter now, or what?
Absolutely. You just added 10 IQ points. Now you're up to 150.
Wow.
Kathy's very
Fantastic.
smart. Okay, let's hear the stories.
All right,
What's
well,
in the news?
Sex.com was purchased by Guy a couple of months ago for $13 million. This site currently gets 125,000 visitors a day, or 3.8 million per month from all over the world, but mostly the US, India, and Germany. So the guy set up a parking page while he figured out how best to develop the domain name, but the revenues he's received have already far exceeded his expectations, saying the page is back on track to return well into 7 figures a year. He's gotten a handful of interesting offers from mainstream media and tech companies, and even one from a pharmaceutical company so far, but he hasn't made up his mind yet. So what would you do if you were him and you owned this domain?
The landing page idea is not a bad idea because I'm guessing he gets paid per click and all this kind of stuff, and I'm guessing people type that in a lot, thinking it's a search term or something. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of ways to make money online. Obviously, that's a keyword people search for a lot. Gosh, I don't know I think if you had a brand that sold sex-related, like the Amazon of sex, that would probably, then you could have a hybrid of actually selling e-commerce and have the clicks, and you'd probably do best.
The people who are going to sex.com probably don't buy a lot of products.
They're right. I think that Yes, but if you did brand it as such, then it could be for all sex-related stuff and knowledge. Actually, if you took it seriously and did something that was
Put out your own whole product line of stuff.
That's what I was about to get at. If you did actually Class A editorial that talked about sexual diseases, sexual health,
Right,
and all
like
that kind of stuff.
Wikipedia of sex.
Well, yeah, or I was even thinking more like if Condé Nast had a magazine, a magazine about sex, or something that was well produced, not boring, but not, you know, porn, basically. And then you had a branded line of whatever that said sex.com on it, and it was actually done in a classy way. It could be a couple of $100 million company.
Right.
So yeah, that's what I would do actually.
So you would start with the content first, and then expand into products.
I would do content and then branded products because I think then if it was done really well, I mean, on television, I couldn't believe this, but they were I was watching television, and they not only had condom commercials, but they had a vibrator commercial on television.
There's a whole network of just sex
No, but this was-
products, I think.
But
The whole not Dr. Phil, what's the
Dr. Ruth?
Dr. Drew.
Dr. Drew.
The late night show that's on across America, that's sponsored by Trojan.
Right,
They
that's
do
what
it
I'm
out of the Trojan studios or whatever.
Right, but there was like Trojan brand condoms and Trojan brand vibrators. Like on television, I was like, wait a second, is that allowed? I don't know. But anyway, so yes, you could do a whole classy line of it. Domaining is a smart business. You know, it's a global business, so you start thinking about it on a global basis. You know, you could make all these kind of brands. And then people would want to have that brand in stores if it was done well.
Is the assumption, though, the people from Germany or India who are going to sex.com are really just going to be first-time visitors? I mean, currently, right now, all you have are just
There are a lot of
links
people who will
page.
type in keyword.com. So then he's going to 125,000 people. Number one, it's not a lot of people every day. I mean, Mahalo gets 4 or 5 times that. So it's not actually a ton of people. If they built any kind of content that was indexable in Google, then they would have a huge amount because people would remember it. People would bookmark it. They would link to it. So a Wikipedia of sex or definitions of sex and just really good content written every day about it in a classy way, like even a blog just about sex, sex in movies, sex in this, sex in television, sex in history. You could just write, a Mahalo of sex, a Wikipedia of sex, an about.com of sex. It would do very well in terms of search traffic, and then you could then parlay that. He could be getting, I think you could probably get easily 1 million people a day if you just spent 1 year making content, and maybe if he spent $13 million on buying the domain, did you say?
Yep.
If he spent $1 million on building content, $100 an article, I mean, then he's got a lot of articles.
That's right. Okay. Well, next story. Social content sharing site Reddit posted a year-to-year comparison showing that its page views nearly tripled from last January, going from 250 million to 829 million per month.
Wow.
Time per visit increased from under 13 minutes to over 15 minutes, and the site also improves its search function during the year. But in an era where Facebook is showing that you don't need to disclose financial information to get great valuations and competitor Digg is being sold, is there an opportunity for Reddit to grow to something much, much bigger?
Hold on a second. Digg is being sold?
Well, it's not being sold, but it's on the market.
It is?
Yeah.
I didn't know that, actually.
Yeah, we talked about that last month.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize it was on the market, but okay. You know what the problem is on social news sites? That traffic is really not worth that much. It's the same people reloading the page every day. They're addicted to it, so it's their homepage. So I would be looking at the number of uniques. And so the page views on a site like Digg or Reddit are probably not as important as the uniques. And the uniques probably are not that great.
That's true.
And once you get that audience, like, if I'm trying to advertise something to that audience, if I'm trying to advertise this iPad case, and there's 5 million people, let's say, who use that site, or 10 million people who use it a month, do I have to do it for all of their page views? Like, if the average person loads it 100 times a month because it's their homepage, it's sort of like Hacker News or Digg or Huffington Post homepage. It's the same people loading it over and over and over again because they set it as their homepage. That the 10th time, 11th time, 12th time is not as valuable as just getting them that first, 2 or 3 times. That's what an advertiser wants. So, but it's amazing that that site has remained relevant inside of Condé Nast, and they've got that sort of infighting and strife that they've had with them in terms of resources. But social news has become a boutique business.
I just don't understand why people still go to this site. Have you been to it
It's the
recently?
community. It's the community.
It is. It's just,
Yeah.
and it's those same people.
If you look at the
The
comments,
fun in the comments
yeah,
and all that. Yeah.
it's
There's actually some incredibly funny comments and banter and everything.
it's
goes on.
culture. It's essentially like it's replacing a magazine. So like Spin magazine or Rolling Stone magazine had a certain culture around them, and people were really into it, and they just sort of would aggregate around it. That's what Reddit is. It's just like it's tech geeks who are into a certain aesthetic, just like the Digg ones were. Digg Nation, they just hang out there, and
That was part of the inherent problem with it all, isn't it? Though, because it evolves into a community,
right.
But it's the face.
It's a limiting factor.
Yes, the face of it is it as for everybody. It's democratic, but
It's not.
it becomes very much not democratic very
If
quickly.
it succeeds,
right?
it then becomes about a certain specific demographic. And so my advice to Kevin Rose with Digg early on, they didn't take it, was I said, make a Digg for women, make a Digg for girls, make a Digg for young boys and teenagers, which basically is what Digg is, right? It's video games and this and that. Make a Digg for people who are retired. Make a Digg for people who live in South America. Make a Digg. That's what I would have done. I would have made Digg New York, Digg Los Angeles, Digg Tokyo, Digg Paris, and then I would have done it based on demographics. I would have done Digg moms. I would have done Digg college students, and it would have just been like, if you're going to do, if it's college students, it has to be education related, and for college people. If it's for kids, it has to be kid related. And so if you put something up that's about Ron Paul on Digg Kids, it gets voted off. They never did that.
But they could still leverage and cross promote
the same technology.
The same. Well, not only the technology, but if an article is rising in one thing, it might blend into others. So
absolutely, if you're in New York and something happens in New York, like, I don't know, somebody dies in New York, somebody gets hit by a car, somebody gets hit by a taxi in New York, it's going to trend on, Digg national news, and if it was a musician who got hit by a car, it'd be on Digg New York, and it would be there. It's basically the Weblogs Inc. of Digg is what I told him to do, and that's when I tried to buy the company from him, and have him join the Weblogs Inc. team. I proposed. I offered him $4 million for the company early on, $1 million in cash and $3 million in stock, and he would have a lot more cash right now, because that would have made Weblogs Inc. worth 3 times as much, I think. And we would have had multiple properties. And Google only sends a certain amount of traffic to a single domain name or property anyway. They only want to give so much relevance to one. So if you're not Wikipedia or about.com and you can only get so much traffic to one single domain, having multiple would have been a great idea. I still love Digg. I think Digg's got great technology, a great community. The problem is they're trying to make that community into something else. What Reddit's done really well is they're not trying to make that community into something else. Where Digg has had the challenge is trying to break out of their existing community. And the existing community says, well, why are you trying to break out of the existing community? We like it here. It's like if you had like a local restaurant here and you're like, you know what, we want to have truffles on the menu, and we want to have a $100 tasting menu, and you're like, well, this is just my local Italian place. I don't want to spend $100 on truffle supplements, and I don't want to go to a prefix model. It's like you're trying to service 2 demographics, fine dining and just family Italian. You can't do it concurrently. That's why you see a lot of restaurateurs will have Nobu and Nobu next door.
Right.
Nobu next door is when you're in jeans and a t-shirt and you haven't shaved and you just want to grab a couple rolls. Nobu is when you want to sit and have a 3-hour meal. Gordon Ramsay does this. He's got Gordon Ramsay, at the larder, the front of the area where you can just order off a menu and get a burger, or you can go in the back and have the 3-course tasting, which I did when I was in New York. It was amazing.
But Reddit is not really that relevant anymore, right? Because all of
Very
the
relevant
sites...
to the community that's there.
Okay.
But it's not relevant to you and I, let's say.
Got it.
Just like there's an incredibly relevant community on Engadget or Sugar.
Photographer sites that are just unbelievable.
And that's the beauty of the internet.
Yeah.
When you get that beautiful community, you have to just nurture it and protect it. The problem is venture capitalists and investors want to see constant growth. This was a constant thing I tried to explain to AOL when I was inside of AOL for a year, which was, it's okay that Divester and Card Squad, which were about scuba diving and poker and card games, it's okay if they're small. But they shut them down because they're like, well, they're too small.
Right.
I'm like, well, these are activities that, in the case of scuba diving, maybe hundreds of thousands of people participate in a year in the United States, or maybe low millions, and cards might be tens of millions. Like, it doesn't need to be Engadget. You can have, and you see this here at Mahalo, like, hey, well, we can do biology videos or, baking as well as music. You have to have this diversity in your mind, but the bottom line, sends venture capitalists on tilt, like, well, why are we doing this? We have to get bigger, we have to get bigger, we have to get bigger. Publishing doesn't want to get bigger. It wants to get to a natural audience size. There is a natural audience. Digg made their natural audience 5 years ago. Reddit made it 3 years ago. And when you try to push against the natural audience, that's when you have audience revolting. So like, well, why are you bringing these other people in? Aren't we good enough? And AOL wanted to water down Engadget at one point, and I said, don't do this. If you do this, you will take the crown jewel, the goose that laid the golden egg, and if you dumb it down, all those people will go away to Gizmodo. And instead, they created Switched, which was Engadget for people who were not that into gadgets. That was Engadget for people who wanted to read it once a week and who didn't know what an RFID chip was and didn't care. But if you explain what RFID is on Engadget, you piss everybody off. Like, why are you defining what an RFID chip? You know, or of course I know what XGA is or whatever. You know, you don't have to explain that to us. Anyway, last story.
Last story. The Consumer Electronics Show is happening in Vegas this week. Have you guys talked about this already?
We have not.
Well, with over 120,000 attendees in 30 countries expected to peruse the show floor, this year there is a particular emphasis on tablets, connected television, 3D processors, and several companies will introduce systems for monitoring and managing electricity usage around the home. All Things Digital is also happening at CES, sponsored by All Things D's Walt Mossberg and Kara Swisher. It's happening Friday at 3:30.
Oh, they invited me. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. I'm not going.
So is there an opportunity for a more joint digital conference at CES? You're seeing more and more digital companies going to Vegas this time of year. There's a cable conference. There's now this digital conference. Is there an opportunity for a digital sub-conference?
This is what happens at CES. I've been to many CESs. This is what happens at CES. Everybody says, we got a lot of plans. We're going to try to accomplish goal A, goal B, goal C. Then you get there, and you're paying $600 a night for a bad hotel room. There's a 45-minute wait for a cab to this convention center. By the time you get to the convention center, you're frustrated as heck. You walk around. You do nothing. You try to get some food. You eat bad food. You're shaking hands with a bunch of people. The floor is packed. You run out of Purell. You're getting sick. You go back to your room, and you rub your eyes, and now you're sick for 2 weeks. It is the worst experience ever. Going to CES is horrific.
My experience wasn't that bad.
It's terrible. And then it's all it is waiting on cab lines and people getting sick and sneezing on you. That's my experience, and I've been to many of these. I hate CES. Hate it. And then everybody's trying to, like, oh, look, we have to meet at CES. Like, but meet about what? Like, what am I going to meet with you about? Like, there's no, unless you're like trying to move actual product, like I need to buy 100,000 LCD screens. It's just a big boondoggle to go to Vegas and to drink, get drunk, and go to clubs.
That sounds really fun.
I know, but it's people have to be upfront about it. No business occurs at CES. It's just a boondoggle. It's like people going to South by Southwest. There's no business occurring at South by Southwest. It's a boondoggle.
Well, there's relationship building, there's contacting, all that kind of stuff.
Getting drunk. Running up expense accounts.
A good reason to do business.
Don't go. Don't go to CES. That's my advice. I had to go to CES because of Engadget and all the other blogs for many years. And it's just like a war. You went, right?
Yep.
And it's just like, it's a war. There's too many people, too few cabs, not enough space, not enough rooms. It's miserable. I think it's miserable.
Unless you are have a hyper-focused agenda that you're trying to accomplish.
Sure.
You're going to get off the rails, and
it's insane.
You'll end up trying to go to some plan B and plan C.
Yes, because you can't get into this party or that party.
And it's very difficult to try and meet up with people there.
Impossible.
Because the venues are so huge and there's so many people. You could
big.
be standing 10 feet from them and you wouldn't necessarily know it.
It's insane. And the phones don't work. And it's
and a surprising lack of Wi-Fi tends to be.
It's too big of a show, which is the same thing that happened to it's too big of a show to be effective. So I really, when companies are like...
It doesn't quite have the serendipity of South by Southwest. Where
South by Southwest is still an intimate show. It's maybe 3,000 or 4,000 people.
That
you're walking down Main Street.
I didn't even know there was a show at South by Southwest. I thought it was just a big party with a lot of bands.
No. There's South by Southwest Interactive, which is a ton of actual programs you can go to and learn some stuff, perhaps, and tons of parties. And it's That's more like Woodstock. Or it's more like a Love-In or something. But CES is just
Love-In.
like debaucherous, like 100,000 people. It's too many people. Way too many.
And a lot of bad dudes.
I'm going in on Friday to play cards.
Right.
As a card player, it's an opportunity to make a lot of money. So I'm probably going to fly out. One of my friends is flying out on his plane on Friday and coming back on Sunday. So I got to negotiate with my wife. But I may be able to go out for 40 hours. I'm literally going to go to the Bellagio room, get a couple cranberries, and sit down and make money.
Are you trying to organize a game with Donkey?
No.
Big Doe? No?
I just sit. I sit, headphones, and then I just wait. Little web, whoop, flies come in, start talking. Oh, you Jason Talcast?
All the out-of-towners that are...
It's all the people who are coming there. And then I tweet, oh, yeah, I'm playing cards. And then people are like, oh, I'm a big fan. I'm going to come play cards at your table. Sure.
Come into the web.
Then I get a little crowd around me, a couple railbirds, people talking. It becomes a little party.
Yeah.
Nobody's paying attention to cards.
Yeah.
I'm focused on the cards, the chips.
You get a magician to come over and
Yeah,
start
no, nobody
doing
thinks
stuff.
I'm focused on the cards.
Right.
Then I take out my BlackBerry, pretend like I'm doing this is my poker trick. I pretend like I'm using my BlackBerry. BlackBerry's off. Battery's not, I don't even have the battery in it. And I'm like this, like, yeah, oh yeah. And they think I'm watching. Corner of my eye. I'm watching if you're touching your chips. I'm watching if your chin is, your jaw's open or closed. Mouth open or closed. You clenching? Is it open or closed? Is it a little half open? Now it's closing. What is it?
Yeah.
I'm watching the smile line. I know the year. I got a whole thing on lockdown.
Jeez.
That's it. All right. So we'll see everybody in CES. Oh wait, wrap away. I got to give up the bag right now. How are we going to give away the bag?
A man purse?
No, it's just a messenger bag. There's no merce about it. Just your standard messenger bag. We didn't want to get into a whole merce thing.
This week in startups.
Look at it. Look how beautiful. And look how subtle.
Wow.
See, it's subtle.
Very classy.
I like that better than like it has to be like an orange. I mean, I love orange, and I would wear an orange one because it's my show. But you're not going to wear an orange one. Well, you're on the show. You would. But a lot of people don't want
I
to
wore
have.
glasses on the show.
Follow on Twitter. We'll pick a winner at random. Follow what?
Follow This Weekend on Twitter.
You gotta thank. You gotta
TWI.
You gotta thank the sponsors.
Twist? Oh no, you gotta thank the sponsors. That's what we'll do. If you thank at GoToMeeting and at SendGrid, somebody thanks the sponsors in the next week between now and the next show.
Forget that. Let's do it in the next 2 minutes.
All right, in the next 2 minutes.
I'll pick somebody right now.
minutes.
I'll pick somebody right now. Go
Pick
ahead.
somebody. All right, we'll pick it in the next 10 minutes, and then we'll also do one for people who download the podcast. So there'll be 2 given away. Thank the sponsors. Kathy, thank you for the news. Great job.
You're very welcome.
Tyler, thank you for the insights. Thank you.
And the nice T-shirt. Well, the nice dress shirt.
Very nice.
Tyler has definitely picked up his game in 2011.
Wait till you see next show.
Really?
Yeah.
Thanks to Frank from SocialFlow for being on the program. Continued success. This Friday, we have Gil from Factual.com. That's going to be a great show. He's a real brainiac, and we'll see you then.
That's what it's all about, man. They said money is the root of all evil. What? Funny how it feeds my people. Yeah. We ain't gonna live like equals until we get the money, spend the money, and defeat you. Yeah. Money is the root of all evil. What? Funny how it feeds my people. Yeah. We ain't gonna live like equals until we get the money, spend the money, and defeat you.